Hi everybody, this is Pramita here, and welcome ladies to my channel. So if you are a new subscriber, then welcome here, and if you have been here for a while, then thank you for being there for me. And if you are watching this and you're not yet a subscriber, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to me. So here we are working on the brown paper bag folio flip kind of thing that we were working on. So this is the fourth part probably. I'm not sure when I'm doing the voiceover, but I will put that on the description box as well as on the title, so you will know that this is probably which part you're watching. Most probably this is the fourth part, and we had already decided on some of the papers that are going to be matted on the front and at the back, but the inside, I had not decided on which papers I'm going to use. So I am using some kits from my shop. So these are vintage ephemera botanical collage. I have used three kits basically: vintage botanical collage 1 A and B, and ephemera collage sheets. So that's that, and these are extremely compatible with a lot of kits. You can use them in many ways. So these are just like your supplementary papers, you can say, and they kind of have that masterboardy kind of look, but they have been digitally made. But you can do the same with your scrap pieces. So I'm just going through the stash of papers, and I think I'm going to go with this page because I've already printed that out in double, keeping in mind that I might be using it more than once. I will also be using some other papers. I will show them to you once I get to that part. So I'm just stacking these papers up. So I am just trying to guesstimate. Now, I am not a big person on measurement, let me tell you honestly. I just tweak my journals according to what I have in my vision, and try to make them work. So the thing is that I need some papers to cover the brown insides, only because not only will it add a kind of reinforcement, it will also be a kind of decorative looking, because I'm adding that extra designed paper. So I'm going to take this portion off, and as you can see, I just fold the paper bag just to guesstimate how much I will need, and take my metal ruler to trim this off. So I'm going to make sure that I have enough paper. Yeah, so, and you can see I have a little bit extra at the top, so I'm going to measure that out too, how much I need, and then I can take off that little tiny bit. So I'm just measuring out and just trying to guesstimate. Basically, I don't want to be perfect, because I want a little bit of that brown to show through, but not too much. So I just need to take this bit off, and you don't need to throw away this paper, this tiny scraps. You can keep it, use it for your smaller projects, whatever you're planning on doing. So I have that bit done, and now I need to figure out something that figure out the fact that these two matted sections, facing matted side by side matted sections, should be of the same height. Otherwise it's going to look very odd when I'm going to put them down on the paper bag itself. So I'm going to take that extra bit off, because I don't need that. And also I need to figure out how much I need. So I'm going to take that, just trim that off from that line, and I'm just going to take my metal ruler, and yeah, so I'm good to go. So I'm not going to throw away those scraps. As I said, I might use them in something along the way. So here I have these two sections, and I need to cover the sides. And I will be going through my stash of papers again just to see whichever catches my fancy or whichever I find will look best. So I'm just going through the stash, trying to figure out which is going to work best. So I'm going to be using this one. Yeah, I'm going to trim off this portion and then use that. So let me measure this out. I don't know how much it's going to be. So as I said, I'm not a big person on measurement, maybe because I have no experience in scrapbooking as such. I started making journal right away because I was making journals for myself, and then subsequently people started asking me to make journals for them. And this is how my journey began. I didn't think that I'm going to be making journals for others. Whatever ideas I had, I experimented with them on my own journals, and then when they came out pretty successful, I had my friends asking me to make something for them, and I started doing I started making journals. So I'm just taking off that little bit that I have on that scrap of paper, and I am going to be measuring out how much I need. So what I'll do is I'm just going to turn this because that label, yeah, I want that flower at the bottom, and I'm just going to take this off extra, which again I'm not going to throw away. I'm just going to keep it aside. And we have the 3 matted portions that we require to go inside the journal folio. Done. Okay, so now we need to just stitch them and glue them down on the bases. We will do that, but before I do this part, because these were the loose ends that we needed to work on while we were working on the cover of the exact folio. As I said before, when I'm working on a journal like this, I like to construct the cover ahead, even before I plan the journal, because it will have a constricting space. So I will know how much I will require. I can put in basically in the journal, because then my journal would not close if this is a trifold, if it's too chunky. So I'm just going to measure out some paper for the edge that was poking out. So I'm going to trim that. So I'm just going to measure this and again snip this with the help of my ruler. So I have that scrap also ready, and now I'm going to measure how much I need, and I'm going to take off the extra. Now they might not be exactly straight, but once I ink them up, I will be knowing if they need any kind of trimming or not, and then I'm going to stitch them and glue them down. So I have all the mats ready. Now we need to concentrate on the envelope that is on the cover, the window envelope that we needed to work on. So I'm just taking out the stacks and trying to guesstimate whichever stack has that window envelope. Now the basic thing is, now we are going to deal with the window envelope, which is also going to be a pocket of sorts and also something which is going to go on the cover. So in the meantime, what I've done is I've taken all the mats, not the ones that we did right away, but the previous ones, and I've stitched around them just so that I need to glue them down. So here is our envelope, okay, and I'm going to do something like, not only is this going to be folded up, it's going to have it can have a back tuck if I want, or a pocket over here. Then I'm going to open up the envelope. It can be a top loading or a side loading pocket, and then it can have this tiny pocket at the front, So it has the possibility of having around pockets four pockets from one envelope. So, well, I could have chopped it off, but then I thought that why not make it a little bit more interesting. So I'm just going to mark off the edge till where I have to cover with the paper, and that will make things so much easier. Like, I will know how till where I need to cover up. So this is the reason why I'm putting those pencil marks. And now what I'll do is I will open up. I'll just decide on the paper, the kind of paper that I will use. I want something florally but not too floral, so I will be using this paper. This is from Antique Papery, and she has an Etsy store. I'll put a link to this kit below in the description box in case you want to pop over and check it out. She has a lot of papers and lots of beautiful kits, so you can easily see for yourself. And this kit is called Prague, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a very autumny kind of kit, but it also has that warmth in the kit that can work with the papers that I'm using basically. So I had chosen the papers because I felt that they are very compatible and can go well together. But of course, if you can do this with anything, you don't have to use this or the kits from my shop. So I'm just taking off the branding, the white borders, and now I need to figure out how much or where I would like the paper to be. So what I'm trying to do is I want a little bit of floral element peeking out, but that's later. First I need to open up one of the sides, so I'm just taking my paper knife or paper cutter knife, you can say. I'm just taking off that sliver so that I can open up this envelope easily. I like to do it this way, but you can obviously skip this part and do it some other way if you know. But personally, since I like to stitch around the envelopes, I generally open them up and try to use them in this way, so that I'll have I will be at ease with these kind of projects while sewing. If I had already closed this off, then I might face some sort of difficulty. But if I'm opening the entire thing, then it's easy to sew on and also work on. So I know what I want. So I just need to cover up that window and also the back, the part that you're going to see through the window. So I'm just trying to figure out what I want you to see through the window. But over here I have only one flower, but I want a little bit more, so I'm going to use probably this part, some tiny paper stuck there. So I'm going to probably use this. Yeah, I'm going to go with this. So, and I just need to figure out how much I need, and then I can just trim off that part. So I'm just taking out my pencil and measuring out the portion that I will require. So this is what you will see through the window once you take off the journal card, which is going to go in there. So I'm going to just mark it out. This is totally doable with junk mail and envelopes, as well as if you have something extra, you can cut your own windows, use acetate, vellum, whatever you want, even packaging. I have done that also and it works out fine. There's no issue with that. So even sometimes the packaging is stronger than the window envelope material. I mean, the material that they use to cover the windows, it's stronger and sturdier. So if you want a stronger and sturdier situation, then you can obviously use some packaging. Here I'm just going to glue this down so that I know how much I'm going to see. And yeah, so I'm just going to use it like this. So this is how it's going to look once I glue this down. Now it might not look much, but once I get this finished, you will see it's going to get a very finished kind of look. So I will be doing that, and I'm just gluing this down. I hope you ladies are well, because in my previous video I had been ranting along like I've about my uh, injured leg. I am a little bit better. This is just a day after, but after the previous video, but of course I still have a long way to go. My body is not what it used to be when I was 24. Obviously nobody's remains the same, but also because I am straddled with a lot of medical issues, so it takes time to heal. So here I have a little bit of issue because I want that paper to go till the top, but I've glued it a little below, and I'm just fiddling with that. I might cover that with something, but then I decide that okay, I'm going to take off this paper and I'm going to push that paper to the top edge and close this down. Just push this onto the surface. So that's how it's done. Okay, and now I can collage something around the envelope. You don't have to, you can ink it and leave it as it is, but I like to decorate the envelopes a little bit, sometimes with tiny scraps or sometimes with a paper. So this time I'm in two minds whether I would like to use up those scraps or shall I cover that with another paper. So I am just going over this, and I have the scrap from a previous project I did, and this paper scrap is also from Antique Papery. I do not remember the name of the kit, but if I somehow can recollect, I'll definitely try and link it, but I don't think I remember. I need to look this over. So I'm just going to figure out how I'm going to give that window envelope look. So what I do is I take the window envelope part, the part that I want, and I'm just going to figure out how much I require. I'm just going to so I need this much only, and then I can just trim off the window part. So for this, usually what I do is I invert the paper and then I go about it. So I'm going to do the same, but before that I just take off the extra bit. I don't require that much, and I am going to turn this entire thing over. You'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I am just trying to figure out how I can put that down. So as I said, I often, like, when I'm doing things like that, I just need to take a time and decide what I actually want to do, because it's very easy to mess up if I'm in a big hurry. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to estimate how much I need to take off as for the window, and then how much I can work on. So I'm just trying to figure out how to place that paper and also not tear up that window part of the envelope, because that window part was really fragile, and I need to get this done quickly, as quickly as possible, so that I don't damage the window envelope anymore, because it really needs reinforcing. It really does. So I'm just drawing some lines just to make sure that I have the window at the right place. So I'm just drawing some lines, and don't worry if it's a bit too dark, because I will that part is going to be covered, so you won't see it. Anyways. So I'm just trying to figure out this side also, folding this, and doing all sorts of measurements that I can see how it is trying to come up. And it really needed that reinforced paper structure. So I felt the envelope was a little bit flimsy, and it needed reinforcements. So this is how I'm trying to do it, and I will just draw a line and get this going, because when I'm going to put this down, I want that little pink portion to show through. So I'm just trying to measure out how much I need to take off, and this is where everything comes into picture. So I'm just drawing some lines, and just to see how much I need to take off. So I can take off this portion, which will accommodate the window, but what happens is something different. You'll see in the process. So this is how, even if I make a mistake, I have to cover that up, but it also has to look something that I had planned. So I wanted to keep that as a single piece. Unfortunately, that did not happen. You'll see why, because there was a slight error in judgment on my part, of course. And what happened was, when I turned this window part over, I found that the side on the left hand, the portion on the left hand side, it had less paper. I mean, it needed a wider paper, and I have kept it narrow. So what I did was I just took that piece off. I don't need that. So I'm going to cover this part, and then I'm going to collage a separate piece on the other side. So I just improvise as things demand. These are not planned, and it's just that another way of covering your window envelope. If you cannot cut out the exact window, that's fine. You can simply cut this out like so, and then you can cover up the rest with little strips. I'm just going to try and do that. So I have trimmed that down. It is, again, this is becoming my pet hobby, just to take the glued portion, push that to something else, and I'm going to cover the sides. And yeah, so I just need to figure out how much I need of that paper. It doesn't matter, I can always take off the extra bit. So I'm just going to cover that portion, and I still need to cover that little white that still needs to be covered. So what I'll do is I'll just take off the extra, and yeah, so now I have basically everything done, except I need to cover that little white bit. So I want a little bit of color on that part. So I'm just trying to see if I can manage to put something interesting. So I am going to cut that tiny orangey pink sort of thing, and I'm going to place it over here. As because as I said, I want a little bit of color on the envelope. So I'm just trying to glue all the loose ends and make them all, you know, so that they look like a part of a continuous paper. I can always use some gel medium to seal everything up, or collage podge or whatever. So now I need to cover up the front envelope, and I will be going through again some scraps that I have. These are very nice for your scrap projects. You can make a bunch of these envelopes and keep them ready. But since I have said before that I am not a big person in mass making, what happens is I realize that I create a lot of things that I will never use in my journals probably. So I somehow I am not very keen on that part. I'm not very efficient in doing that, I would rather say. But I'm not against it if if I think that I can use it in many kinds of journals, or in most of the kinds that I work in, then of course I'm going to go ahead with that. Again, I'm going to take off that paper. Oh my god, what am I doing? I mean, so many times I'm gluing things down and then I'm just simply taking off that paper, repositioning it. This is what I do. This is the reality. So now you get to see a bit of that. And I don't know if you're liking these longer videos, but I'm definitely enjoying them. That's true, because I don't have to rush through the process. um, as I said, I have upgraded a little bit my filming situation, so you're going to get better videos and longer videos if you people like them, more rambly videos perhaps, because once it gets to the voiceover part, it gets a little bit rambly, but that's okay. I I am not averse to that. And I'm just taking off that lip, not the lip, the V-shaped part that allows the journal card or the tag to go in. And again, this was misshapen, like it was not regular. So I just need to figure out to even out the you know so I'm just folding this and just trying to even out the thing. So now we have the envelope front part done, and I need to cover the lip, not the lip, the lid. So I would like some colorful paper, because the bottom part is a very neutral one, so I might use some papers that are left over from the window envelope thingy that we did previously. So I'm going to use a little bit of color on the flap. So yeah, so I'm just trying to guesstimate what would be best. I think I'm going to go with this side. So what I do is I don't measure out anything. I just lay the lip down on the paper itself and then cut around it. This is the quickest and the easiest method that you can possibly do when you're working on something like this, because you don't know what your what size your lid will be, or your the thing that you're covering will be, because it's of irregular measurements probably. So I'm just going to cut around the the lid, and you will see how it's looking. I think it's going to look okay, and I hope everything goes well, because this is something that is totally random, not random, but very, very organic, and nothing has been planned, no prototypes have been done. This is what I do. Like, not always do I have prototypes. Some things, I just do it, wing it. and either I sail or I sink. It's like that. Most of the time I don't sink, but sometimes I do have issues when I'm working on a different kind of journal than the usual one. We still need to figure out the journal that would go inside this folio sort of thing. Of course, that's going to have a few interesting things. This is going to be a long drawn process of adding journals and ephemera and journal cards. So keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the all button, because there are three options. Yeah, so the lid is already done, and I will of course embellish these a little bit more once I finish everything down. I get everything done and glued up. So as I was saying, if you like this video, then please hit the like button, and if you want to keep watching, then not only do you need to subscribe, but also hit that all button so that you receive the notifications of all my videos. Sometimes what happens is you are subscribed, but you have not hit the like all button. That means that you will not get notifications for all of my uploads, so you need to be careful about that also. So bye everybody, have a great day, and thank you for watching.